So the market sold off pretty sharply here today, although they are getting a bounce, and we are in front of the FOMC. Will we get a hawkish or dovish Jerome Powell? Let's get into it here today. It is Tuesday, May 6th, 2025. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. I appreciate you guys liking the video. It helps out the channel a lot. Also, if you like the content, don't forget to come find me on carnivoretrades.com. For swing trading alerts, analysis, and live day trading. Let's get into it today. So markets today with a pretty good gap down, and we kind of just mean reverted for most of the day here. And I kind of was referring to this earlier to members, like this is just kind of a trappy kind of mess here. And we are seeing volatility catch a bid. The VIX is now back into backwardation. So maybe a little bit of risk here going into tomorrow. And today was the first day in a while that I saw some actual risk in the chain, like in the gamma. Although it didn't really end up following through. We didn't end up getting down to, we had some levels down at 554, 555 that we thought would be some support if we got down there. And we never really, you can just see we kind of spiked the low and then nice little squeeze. It's important to be on your toes in a market like this too, where we actually played short this morning. Covered into the low, and then stopped out of our runner, and we're able to flip long right here on this consolidation pattern. Got a nice little gain here, stopped out on the runner. So it was kind of one of those days where they're trying to stop everybody out on both ends. They stopped out, or they got shorts on board right here, stopped out, longs flipped it the other way, stopped out shorts on this move, and then hit the longs. So kind of a trap fest here. Getting retail to chase, basically burning a lot of options premium. But ultimately, I think we'll probably just close the day around 560. That said, volatility is, staying pretty bid here. You see the VIX holding up pretty well. VVIX having a decent day. VIXy, up at the highs of the day here too. So we're hanging in there pretty well, volatility-wise. That said, no real damage. I mean, if we just zoom out to the daily, we're still above the 50 MA, and this could easily just be a little two-step pullback. If we get a dovish Powell tomorrow, I mean, we can just shoot right up into that 200 moving average. So I would just be careful about getting too bearish or bullish on either side right now. Yeah, we still haven't really done any backing and filling, but we also haven't really done any damage here. I mean, we're above the 50. We're back below this kind of big point of control. But I mean, we can get above that in seconds here on good news. And we actually had some today, a little Trump pump there for 2 seconds. It was just kind of an algo move, but yeah, it just shows you how quickly we can move here. That said, if you didn't catch the video from Sunday, we talked about 5,800 being max move for right now. Unless anything changes, I don't really see us getting past that should we start to pump up. So that would kind of pierce that 200 MA, obviously. And that's really all I see between now and OPEX. And there's a lot of interest up there for OPEX. Even for Friday, there's 5,700 is a little bit of a cap. But again, we get a dovish Powell tomorrow, that can change. Now, if he's hawkish, I think really the bulls, you kind of just the best bull case would be we hold above 5,500. So we obviously know this is a big point of control here. And holding above that could just mean sideways into OPEX, and then we could even pump after that, right? If we can just digest this off and work off this overbought condition, we can hold up. But if that does not hold, then we got to start talking about these gaps down here. You got a couple of them. You got 5,250. We've got basically 5,150. And notice how the 236 here lining up perfectly with 5,500. So we know that's a big level. But right now, I'm not even going to entertain anything past 5,500 here, just because I wouldn't even call this a pivot. I mean, like, it kind of is a pivot, but we could easily just jump tomorrow and go straight to 5,750, 5,800. I need to see like actual damage. If we lose the 50 MA, then we'll start talking about these levels. We lose 5,500, then we'll start talking about lower levels. But right now, this is just a 1-2 pause after a big rally. So at face value, that's what I'm taking it as currently. A couple of things though, we did have a good jump in bonds that helped out a little bit here. The 10-year actually did a pretty good auction. This is working on a higher low here. TLT here, if that ends up being a third higher low, this can go a lot higher. Again, $90 is still resistance right now though, but it does have higher lows. What I will say though is if we look at, say, a weekly, actually let me use the 30-year. weekly 30 area is really, that this yield is really strong here. This is a very strong consolidation pattern on the weekly and monthly. And if it wasn't for that, I would probably take TLT again, honestly, right here. I like the way it acted today. The auction came out clearly way better than the market thought. And I like the higher lows. Into FOMC tomorrow, it's still a bit of a wild card. So I'm mostly into cash here. Have a little tail hedge for what I need. But, outside of that, again, you don't have to be involved in every move here. I don't really have a good bias going into tomorrow because it could really go either way here. I'd rather just react from there. We've already gone up a lot. I'm not trying to buy after a 2-day pullback. I'm also not trying to, if you're going to short, you can do it with a stop above the high or above 580, or excuse me, 5,800. If you want to do that. For me, I'd rather just have a tail hedge with volatility. VIX is into backwardation too, so keep that in mind. IWM here down 1% on the day. It was strong earlier. It led the recovery off the lows, and then the Russell just does the Russell things, right? It just doesn't follow through. So that did lose the 50 MA, so not good to see that there. The diamond also as well. By the way, another stock here in the news, Palantir down 12%, double top. This is still got a very supportive dealer setup here. If it gets to 100, I think that's going to be supported until Friday. But right now, even with the gap down, all it did is it didn't even test the 20 MA. So this is still a strong stock. We got AMD after the bell as well. So I don't have any bias on this one. We'll see what happens tomorrow, with the Fed tomorrow, I guess. SMH again down 0.5%. AMD hanging in there. Nvidia green. IGV again. Palantir, big name in this, down 1%. Still holding trend though. Transports did get hit pretty good, so they still have potentially higher lows here though. It's trying to break through that 14K and hold that 14K area. Maybe you can do that on the Fed. If not, then it might even be back down to take another stab towards 13.2, 13.3. But definitely a weak sector here today, and the whole market was weak. Really, Lilly, Palantir, and really Energy, XLE. Another strong name there. XHB today down 1.5. VNQ down 0.5%. That actually came off the lows pretty nicely. Banks actually held up all right. XLF down just 7 cents. Nothing terrible. KRE. This came back pretty nicely in the morning, but did back off. This actually doesn't have a bad pattern here intraday. So that's still kind of hanging in there, as is KBE, and broker dealers holding up pretty well too. Got a nice inside bar. Oil, good rebound. So we gapped down yesterday and just kind of V-shaped from there. And again, I talked about these levels previously, but yeah, like 59.50, right in this area to $60. That's where it's got to get through, and it's consolidating on the hourly. So I still have my oil position. It's basically flat right now, but maybe a little W here. We'll see. Onus is on the sellers to stop this here. Good rebound there. XLE again, green, one of the few sectors. XOP, we get something from Powell. If that takes off, that island's getting ready. I don't have any. Maybe I'll regret it, but let's see. I like the setup there for XLE and OIH. Gas here down 2.3. Nothing terrible there though. Could be a lower high though. Dollar got hit really hard. Again, rolling over the 20. Can't even get back over the 20. So this is still really weak. So I would say from a risk reward standpoint, I don't think it's just at face value. I don't think it's good to be short into the Fed with this. It has not had a proper bounce in a while. And yes, you might say the path of least resistance ultimately is lower, but in the near term, this is like absolutely in the basement here. And sellers are getting really greedy down here. Right, so I would say all it takes is Powell to say one little thing. And so that's just my take on it right now. The yen, or dollar versus yen, same kind of deal. But that is down today, so just respect that. Gold up too. No damage here on gold. So gold still can go higher. Nothing saying it can't. I think next, yeah, GDX holding up too. I think the 786 is up here. Yeah, I think it's about to touch that now. I think it already did. If I can get the chart, there we go. Okay, so it's got a little bit. So we'll just say 34.50. But there's nothing wrong with this right now. Silver, nice pop. So that's trying to get a weekly higher low. Platinum had a good day today, up 3 1/3, and then palladium was up nicely too. Yep, so yeah, it's peaking above that trend line now. So nice job there. Copper, again, getting a bounce. This is, I'm not touching that. It's a mess there. Bitcoin holding up. So here's a point for the bulls. So we did go up into resistance here, and I don't like this pattern normally where you don't consolidate enough for the moving average to catch up. Oftentimes this can be a fake and then it could go lower, but it's holding up and it's green in a down tape, so maybe still a little bit of risk on here. Weekly chart, it did close. I don't think we got above that, did we? Yeah, so it didn't close the week above that red, so that's the only problem here. But pattern-wise, it's not rejecting. It's just not breaking out. That's fine. You can consolidate. This is still pretty strong here. So no problems really with Bitcoin overall. So again, afternoon here. Spiders, yeah, maybe they get a little bit of a pop into the close. We've been pinned to 560 really all day though, so we might just sit here, honestly. Right now, that's really the best I can give you. You know, normally I have more of a bias here, but you know, if we were green yesterday and today, I'd be much more like, okay, we're going to pull back, right, onto the Fed. But now that we've had a 1-2 pullback, you've kind of reset the low time frames, right? Like look at an RSI right now. This is reset on the hourly now. You know, even the 4-hour, you know, this has room. So I can't really, you know, I mean, like I would love to say, oh, yeah, you know, I have a strong feeling about this, but you know, it could go either way here. We're so close to the 200, where you know it's close enough that they might want to just get it out of the way. It also could go, you know, Powell says something the market doesn't like. We could also easily go right back to 5,500. So a break back below that would be a big negative, though, at least in the near term. So anyways, guys, I'll wrap it up here. Again, you guys take care. Don't forget to come find me on carnivoretrades.com. I will see you guys all tomorrow.